Hey guys, welcome to JasonWhiskyWise, and myself, Jason, bringing you whiskey review number 65, where today we're going to review the Paul John Classic Select Cask. Now, we're carrying on from the Paul John range, and we're finally moving into the Select Casks, which are all their cask strength, which are above 55% alcohol and above, and we're going to get into beginning with the unpeated expression, which is the Classic. Now, if you haven't already followed me on my social media, I'll leave links to that over here, where you can be sure to go and drop me a follow on Twitter, Facebook, and also on Instagram. So, we're going to begin this review by starting with the age of this whiskey, and this one here is another non-age stated whiskey from Paul John. That's because the climate in India, again, is much more hotter, so you're looking at a faster maturation, 3 to 5 times faster than in Scotland. But in terms of the ABV, this one is bottled at 55.2% ABV. The cask selection they do using this one, and they actually write that on the back over here, they say it's American White Oak ex-bourbon barrels. And this is actually quite a nice box. I want to show you this one as they open up with a nice magnetic box and open up and you can put the whiskey in there. Quite nice. Now, I'll do a quick comparison to show you the other one, which is a peated cask, which is this one over here. And the peated cask, you can tell the difference between the two because the classic, which is unpeated, is green, a light green, and the peated is the darker green. So the difference in the two. So we'll remove this one. And let's get started. So, as I mentioned, the Classic is an unpeated expression. It is from the distillery of the Paul John Distillery, which you can see just over there. The parent company that do own them are John Distillers, and the region is from Goa, India. Now, I've also been lucky enough to also meet the owner of Paul John, which you'll see just over here. I'll ping a picture, as I had a little lucky time where I actually ran into him in central London, and I'm just over the moon about it. Now, I also want to leave a link to the regional manager, which is Shilton, I'll leave his links over there. I believe it will be his Twitter and Instagram, and go and drop him a follow if you're going to any of the upcoming whiskey festivals all around the UK or Europe. He might be there, and be also sure you can see a picture of him so you can know exactly how he does look. Now, in terms of the price point, the Classic is priced at £60 for the bottle, much more than the range that I just reviewed in terms of the Brilliance Edited and Bold, which were all around £30 to £40. This one's a little bit more at £60, and in terms of exclusivity, no, it is not exclusive. It's part of their core range, so you will see this in all shops. In terms of caramel colour, there is no caramel colour. This is all natural whiskey, non-chill filtered and natural colour, which is just brilliant. That's what we want in our whiskies. So, we'll begin by assessing the colour for this whiskey, which I'll hold up for the screen over there, and you can see that over there. Tell me what you think down below. Also, if you've tried the Classic, leave me your tasting notes down below in the comment section, because I like to read them. So, I'm going to go with an amber on the colour of this whiskey. It's got a nice tint of darkness to it. At the same time, it's not overly dark in terms of, it's not like a sherry bomb, because they use bourbon cask. So I'm going to go with the amber. Let's begin by assessing the nose. Into the nose. Woo! So, on the nose, initial impressions, I'm really loving this one. You're getting that nice, rich, creamy vanilla custard, and then you're getting a slight nutty character right behind that, and this is more towards almond nougat. Little hints of a hazelnut, slightly toasted hazelnuts, and then you're getting sesame snaps, which are those sesame seeds that you get in little packets, and they're sort of sesame seeds with honey, and they're sort of like dry honey where it comes all together and you just bite them and it's just so sweet, but at the same time you get the sesame character coming through. A little hint of nutmeg, and then as you leave it for a little lengthy period of time, you develop a much more fruitier nose on it. More towards, I'd say, a little bit of guava. And this is tropical, sort of exotic fruits. And then I'm getting papaya. More papaya, actually, as if you're scooping out the insides of a papaya. That's sort of the memory that's coming to me. And then a little bit of a creamy custard apple, giving a nice little sweetness. And then on the end, a little bit of sweeter notes. More towards, I'd say, golden syrup. Not really so much honey there. Golden syrup. And a little bit of a slight soft bitter note in licorice. So, that's my initial impressions on the nose. But let's next move into the palate. So, into the palate. So, into the palate for this whiskey. The texture on the palate, as soon as you put it on the palate, and the longer you leave it as well, the texture thickens, becomes much more viscous, much more richer, very nice, full on the palate. The vanilla cream straight away, sort of buttery all over the texture of the palate. And then you get a nice candy, gingery warmth added to it. And the soft spices start to develop on the palate. That sort of candy ginger, as I mentioned, a little dash of cinnamon powder, and then a little bit of white pepper, sort of just developing, giving you that little burst of spice, letting you know it is there. Right behind that, you are getting a sort of citrusy note, and this is more grapefruit, a little bit of a bitter citrus, and more grapefruit juice, and a little combination as well of the peel and a bit of the pith, just adding all the charactering elements of a grapefruit in there. And then as you develop it a little bit further, a little bit more fruity notes develop, and this is more towards, let's say, apples. But these are spiced apples, ever so softly spiced, quite nice, rich, juicy apples. And then dried apricots. And I've had a few of those today, so that's what's coming to mind a little bit straight away. And then a bit of coating of those in a bit of honey, and this is a much more thick, syrupy Mayuka honey. And then right on the end, a very interesting note of banana smoothie, which is something which is rather interesting, because normally I always get sort of fruits and never get banana, but this one I'm getting a banana smoothie just on the end. So we're going to move into the finish, and then we'll come to my conclusion on the Paul John Classic. So into the finish. So, into the finish for this whiskey. I took a very large sip over there, and now I'm getting those flavors really continuing on, actually. The finish starts out very long, and it's still just carrying on, more towards the back of the palate than the front or from the sides. Very rich, very creamy. It reminds me straight away, and that banana note is coming through again, of a fresh out the oven, warm banana bread, freshly been cooked out the oven. Very gooey on the inside, quite chewy as well. Really delicious. A bit of sultanas on the top of that. Sun-soaked sultanas. Golden syrup glazing over the top of that. And even now notes of a vanilla sponge cake. Really nice, sweeter, soft, but then chewy. Really nice stuff on this one. I'm also getting a slight grassy note, and this is more towards slightly golden sort of hay, drying out ever so slightly. And then the nutty notes develop right behind that, and this is more of nutmegs, walnuts, and a slight spiced vanilla note as well, which sort of lingers right at the end as it sort of fades away, but still hanging on just about. It's not letting itself completely go. So in terms of my rating for this whiskey, this is quite up there. I'm going to give it... I love this one. This is one of my favorites, to be honest with you guys. And I've tasted the whole Paul John range before doing the video reviews. I'm giving this one a 94 out of 100. For unpeated expression, the nice, rich, creamy vanilla notes which really just play themselves on the palate. Not so much spice being bold and punchy, but just giving you little impressions that it's there on the palate. And then those fruitier notes, but more the vanilla notes, the vanilla sponge cake, the banana sort of banana bread, banana smoothie as they round themselves up with the nice exotic flavors, really encapsulating the sort of climate that I'm thinking of when I drink this whiskey. I'm thinking I'm sitting in India. It's just giving me that nice, really nice sort of takes you back sort of a feeling. Really nice whiskey all in all. I'm giving it a 94 out of 100 because the price point of this, again, at £60 is absolutely superb. In terms of many whiskies nowadays are at £50 starting price. And at £60 you're getting a whiskey that's a very nice, very rich style. Really nice character, nice tropical fruits, nice sweetness, nice bit of spice. It just has everything all together. And a quick note for you guys, if you've got this bottle sitting with you at home where you've got a sample, pour a little bit into a glass now, and then wait 30 minutes and pour another bit into another glass. And the one you've got there, if you compare it to the newly poured compared to the one poured before, you'll see they're completely two different whiskies. This one does evolve the longer you leave it, and it's just mind-blowing. I've actually done that one in a private tasting, and the two people that, sitting there and drinking these whiskies, they actually thought they were two separate whiskies. And I just said, because I poured one well before and I poured one freshly, and it's just completely amazing contrast between the two. Give it a try if you have this bottle at home. Let me know your thoughts on the Paul John Classic. But on that note, we're going to wrap the video up here. If you have enjoyed the review, by all means, feel free to drop it a thumbs up. Be sure to hit my subscribe button over here and check out the brilliance, the edited and the bold over here. But on that note, this has been Jason WhiskyWise. Give yourself a try of the Paul John Classic, and I'll catch you all for the next video.